Indian Home Rule by M.K. Gandhi. Chapter 9 The Condition of India Continued. Railways. Reader, you have deprived me of the consolation I used to have regarding peace in India. Editor, I have merely given you my opinion on the religious aspect, but when I give you my views as to the poverty of India, you will perhaps begin to dislike me, because what you and I have hitherto considered beneficial for India no longer appears to me to be so. Reader, what may that be? Editor, railways, lawyers, and doctors have impoverished the country, so much so that, if we do not wake up in time, we shall be ruined. Reader, I do now indeed fear that we are not likely to agree at all. You are attacking the very institutions which we have hitherto considered to be good. Editor, it is necessary to exercise patience. The true inwardness of the evils of civilization you will understand with difficulty. Doctors assure us that a consumptive clings to life even when he is about to die. Consumption does not produce apparent hurt. It even produces a seductive color about the patient's face, so as to induce the belief that all is well. Civilization is such a disease, and we have to be very wary. Reader, very well then, I shall hear you on the railways. Editor, it must be manifest to you that, but for the railways, the English could not have such a hold on India as they have. The railways, too, have spread the bubonic plague. Without them, masses could not move from place to place. They are the carriers of plague germs. Formerly we had natural segregation. Railways have also increased the frequency of famines because, owing to the facility of means of locomotion, people sell out their grain and it is sent to the dearest markets. People become careless, and so the pressure of famine increases. They accentuate the evil nature of man. Bad men fulfill their evil designs with greater rapidity. The holy places of India have become unholy. Formerly people went to these places with very great difficulty. Generally, therefore, only the real devotees visited such places. Nowadays, rogues visit them in order to practice their roguery. Reader, you have given a one-sided account. Good men can visit these places as well as bad men. Why do they not take the fullest advantage of the railways? Editor, good travels at a snail's pace. It can, therefore, have little to do with the railways. Those who want to do good are not selfish. They are not in a hurry. They know that to impregnate people with good requires a long time. But evil has wings. To build a house takes time. Its destruction takes none. So the railways can become a distributing agency for the evil one only. It may be a debatable matter whether railways spread famines, but it is beyond dispute that they propagate evil. Reader, be that as it may, all the disadvantages of railways are more than counterbalanced by the fact that it is due to them that we see in India the new spirit of nationalism. Editor, I hold this to be a mistake. The English have taught us that we were not one nation before, and that it will require centuries before we become one nation. This is without foundation. We were one nation before they came to India. One thought inspired us. Our mode of life was the same. It was because we were one nation that we were able to establish one kingdom. Subsequently, they divided us. Reader, this requires an explanation. Editor, I do not wish to suggest that because we were one nation we had no differences, but it is submitted that our leading men traveled throughout India either on foot or in bullock carts. They learned one another's languages, and there was no aloofness between them. What do you think could have been the intention of those far-seeing ancestors of ours who established Shetubindu Rameshwar in the south, Juggernaut in the southeast, and Hardwire in the north as places of pilgrimage. You will admit they were no fools. They knew that the worship of God could have been performed just as well at home. They taught us that those whose hearts were aglow with righteousness had the Ganges in their own homes. But they saw that India was one undivided land so made by nature. They, therefore, argued that it must be one nation. Arguing thus, they established holy places in various parts of India, and fired the people with an idea of nationality in a manner unknown in other parts of the world. Any two Indians are one as no two Englishmen are. Only you and I and others who consider ourselves civilized and superior persons imagine that we are many nations. It was after the advent of railways that we began to believe in distinctions, and you are at liberty now to say that it is through railways that we are beginning to abolish those distinctions. An opium eater may argue the advantage of opium eating from the fact that he began to understand the evil of the opium habit after having eaten it. I would ask you to consider well what I have said on the railways. Reader: I will gladly do so, but one question occurs to me even now. You have described to me the India of the pre-Mahometan period, but now we have Mohammedans, Parsis, and Christians. How can they be one nation? Hindus and Mohammedans are old enemies. Our very proverbs prove it. Mohammedans turned to the west for worship, whilst Hindus turned to the east. The former look down on the Hindus as idolaters. The Hindus worship the cow, the Mohammedans kill her. The Hindus believe in the doctrine of none-killing, the Mohammedans do not. We thus meet with differences at every step. How can India be one nation? You have reached the end of Chapter 9 of Indian Home Rule by M.K. Gandhi. Click on the links at the end of the video to go to the playlist or the next chapter if it's available. If you enjoy the content and would like to support the channel, please like and subscribe.